Hello everybody, welcome back to the next blog post. This is just after Christmas and Boxing Day, so I really hope you've all had a lovely time, spent it with your nearest and dearest, and really hope that it's been a good one. So, this next blog post that I'm going to be doing is on another, I find, underutilised piece of equipment. It's very well priced, very versatile, and it can be used in a number of scenarios. They are resistance bands. Now, obviously they come in varying sizes and colours. Green will be your thickest and most resistance, then purple, then black, then red. Now, the reason why I love resistance bands is because you can use them in a number of training disciplines. You can use them in weights, you can use them in calisthenics, you can use them in circuit training. They're fantastic as resistance training on their own. And then they've also got an added bonus where you can sort of utilise them cleverly in other things. I'll sort of break that down. So, the reason why I love them is because, let's say you have a home gym, you're limited on the weights you've got because A, they're expensive, and B, place to store them. Bands are a fantastic way to overload on any type of exercise whereby you're limited by the weight you have. The band, obviously, as it's stretched on your concentric side of a lift, it will add more resistance the more the band is stretched, and depending on whatever band you're using will depend on how much you can add resistance to it. They are fantastic. You can use them for squatting, benching and deadlifting. They will add sufficient resistance to make an exercise you may find comfortable very challenging. And the beauty, like I've said, is that as you're hitting end range of motion, say for example on a bench press, on a deadlift, that resistance is going to be at its peak right at the top of the lift. So they are brilliant for adding an overload stimulus to any type of exercise you're doing. Not only that, one of the best things I've started using them for, if I'm doing weighted movements such as squats or step ups, is you can actually suspend weights from your bands. Now, you can buy really long, like 8-foot barbells in these now bamboo barbells that flex a lot when you're lifting, and it adds a more challenging stimulus in terms of like your balance and compensating, making sure both sides are equal. The beauty about you can do with the bands is if you had 2 of the heavy resistance bands, you can loop them through a weight and hang them on your barbell. Now, the best thing about that is the fact that when I've been doing it, typically you don't need to be going as heavy with the exercise to make it as challenging. Now, that being said, it adds the added bonus of this muscle-mind connection that you need when you're training, if you really want to get the most out of it, of full concentration and devoting yourself in that moment to that exercise. So when I've been squatting or doing step-ups, I've hung weights, kettlebells typically, just looped the band through the handle of the kettlebell and then suspended it on the barbell. There should be a video coming up on the socials for that, so check that out. And what it does is it adds this element to the lift. Even though the weight isn't as challenging, the fact that the weight's moving, swinging, constantly adjusting and changing makes you have to work very hard to keep your base solid, keep your technique good, and get a good clean set without losing your balance and falling over. So they're brilliant because it makes so many more minor muscle groups pull together. You have to really concentrate on your balance, your form, and not only that, it's a constant tension exercise because as you are squatting, that weight is naturally moving backwards and forwards, left and right, because of the swing naturally. As you hit bottom of the eccentric part, the band will resist and pull back. Same again when you hit the top on the concentric, it will resist and pull back again. It just makes it so much more challenging in terms of you having to be physically aware of how you're balancing, how the movement's feeling, keeping a good solid technique. It reinforces a very good movement pattern. And again, it's not necessarily challenging it with the weight aspect. It may only be around 60 kilogram, but the fact that the balance is there is making you recruit so much more concentration, and probably, like I've said, a few minor muscle groups for supporting, especially around your feet and the lower part of your legs, making them really actively engaged. Your core has to be solid to make the bar, because the bar's moving and it wants to tipple you to one side or other, so your core has to be very solid. I found it been a really good exercise for making my squats more challenging, because I'm not the biggest fan of squats anyway. and adding like a stimulus to the exercise that makes it so much more rewarding, because it's like a form of functional lifting. Now, breaking that down, everyday life is not like lifting in the gym. If you go to pick a box up, for example, in front of you, there's no guarantee that that box is going to be 100% balanced weight inside the box. It could be very heavy one side and light the other. The weight could be moving inside. And it replicates this real life functional strength needed. I mean, it's when you watch strongmen, for example, like World's Strongest Man, they do lift some typically, kit, but they'll lift like big heavy kegs, big awkward boxes in front of them, and it's like awkward everyday lifting, what you do day to day, and it can be underutilized, and it builds such fantastic overall strength lifting in this way, just because it literally transmits from being in a specific environment to everyday life, which is why I love it. Now, that being said, in terms of calisthenics, they are also brilliant. So, if you can't do pull-ups and you need the help of a resistance band, you can hang the band over the pull-up bar, drop it down, step into it with your feet or your knees, and you can start doing pull-ups. And again, the lighter the band you go, the less help it will give you, so it'll mean you'll have to be working harder. Now, that's brilliant because it's scalable. So let's say if you start off and you on the green band and you find it too easy, you go to the purple and you find it challenging. Fantastic. You can sit on the purple band for 2 to 3 weeks and then think, I want to try it on the black band. So you'll try it on the black band and then it becomes challenging again. And you'll maintain that until obviously that becomes more comfortable, and then you'll go to the lightest band, which is the red one. The scalability is fantastic. You can utilise them for assistance and you can utilise them for resistance. So you can also, if you want to do your pull-ups, you can anchor the band on the floor, put your feet in the band, and as you do a pull-up, as you get towards the top end of motion, towards the chest or on a chin-up, the band will be at its most resistance. So it will also be an added overload to your pull-ups if you've not got any weights or a weight belt. You can also use them for press-ups and wrap the band around your back, put either end of the band in your hand and do press-ups. Again, phenomenal. Adds an extra challenging element to a relatively basic exercise, and if you find them comfortable and you tend not to do them, they're a brilliant way to utilise them. So you can use chest flies on them, you can do all sorts of bicep curls in the bands. They are brilliant on their own as well. You can do them for glute bridges on the floor. You tend to see a lot of women use them in the gyms for glute bridging, doing kickbacks on the bands. They are fantastic for that. And they're brilliant to have at home. They're always brilliant to keep at home because, like I say, with the lockdowns we've had, when you've had to be reliant on training in your own space, because they take up no space at all whatsoever, and the versatility on them, they really are worth getting a set of or a couple of sets. One thing I really like to use them for plyometrics and high intensity interval training is I like to anchor a band and then walk into it with my waist and do on the spot sprints. Again, fantastic. If you haven't got a treadmill or the weather's crap outside and you want to do hill sprints and you can't get out and do some sprints, you can do banded sprints on the spot. Gives you the exact same resistance, the exact same feeling as if you're doing a high intensity sprint. And yeah, like I say, they are just a really good one-stop shop for covering a lot of elements. And again, if you feel comfortable, say you're doing banded sprints, you can obviously use a heavier band for more resistance, so that you're working harder pushing into the band. If you're at a beginner level, you can use one of the lighter bands. They really are versatile and they're really worth having and utilising. Now, if there's enough interest, I'm more than happy to put a exercise video out for the versatility of the bands. There will be some going up on the social media pages as well that I've been doing myself, so by all means check them out. And yeah, if I could tell anybody to get them, I'd tell everybody to get them. I think everyone should utilise them in their workouts because they are so versatile and they can transmit to a number of disciplines, and you get a lot of bang for your buck with them. We've got some on the website now, on the training equipment page on the shop, so check them out. And yeah, this is probably going to be the final blog of 2021, seeing as New Year's nearly upon us. So I would just like to take this time to thank everybody for your custom, for your support, for following the social media pages. Thank you very much. Looking forward to getting the new year off to a good start. So on that note, everyone get some goals set, keep going, keep on your push, don't stop altogether. If you're on this train, keep it going, even if it's at a nice steady pace. It's easy to pick the speed up. It's very hard to stop and start again. Just keep up your push, set some goals and attack them and smash them and start next year strong. You know, start strong, stay strong, keep that momentum going. So yeah, thanks guys. That's the third blog done. Bosh.